If you're a fan of southern rock legends Lynyrd Skynyrd and you love all of their classic guitar tones, in this video we're going to be talking about something that is going to be incredibly useful for you. We're going to be looking at a pedal that gets those classic Lynyrd Skynyrd tones from all three of their guitar players. This is from a company called Missing Link Audio, and this is a pedal called the Anthem. So the Anthem is a very, very touch-sensitive, vintage voiced overdrive pedal from the guys at Missing Link Audio. So the whole point of this pedal is to take the classic Lynyrd Skynyrd guitar sounds and distill it down into a single pedal. Now Lynyrd Skynyrd famously had three guitar players, so one pedal surely cannot sound like three people, but this thing is actually designed to do just that. There's a 3-position toggle switch on this, which basically allows you to select your favorite Skynyrd guitar player, and then the pedal revoices itself towards their guitar sounds. So in this video we're going to be looking at a couple of the different classic Skynyrd tones and seeing what this thing can do. So before we talk about the specs of this thing, I just want to let you guys know this is a sponsored video today. So Missing Link Audio are paying me to make this video and they've provided me with the pedal that you see. But as always, all the thoughts and opinions in the video are my own. So the three main tones that we're going to be exploring in this video with this pedal are linked to each of the classic Skynyrd guitar players. So we're going to be looking at Alan Collins with that kind of biting mid-range heavy rock tone, the Ed King or Steve Gaines slightly crackier Strat tone which kind of sounds a bit more like a cranked tweed amp, and that classic Gary Rossington rhythm sound which is just really thick but it's not too overdriven, it's just got a nice thick punch to it. This pedal can do all three of those things. So the pedal itself, other than its very striking visuals, actually looks quite simple on the surface. So the real key here is this 3-position toggle switch. In the first position, which is up, we've got the Alan Collins sound. In the middle position, we've got the Ed King, Steve Gaines sound. And then in the down position, which is position 3, we've got the Gary Rossington sound. So with that switch, it kind of revoices how the entire pedal works to suit each of the Skynyrd players' sounds. There's not drastic differences between the 3 positions, but there's enough there to pick out the different sort of subtleties of each of the players. Then we have a volume control, which just controls the output volume. The gain control, which is obviously the amount of gain we're having. This is quite a wide-ranging control, but really we're only going to be sticking in the lower half for most of the Skynyrd tones because they're not really super high gain tones. We've got a tone control, which is the overall brightness of the sound. And then we have this really interesting control here called the voice control. So what the voice control does is it allows you to dial in a little bit more of a kind of vintage speaker response. So as you push the voice control, it sort of emulates the sound of a tube amp with the speakers working really, really hard. So when we crank it, we can kind of get those almost collapsing speaker sounds like you get from like a tweed amp, let's say, when you've got it cranked. So that's really cool because it kind of captures that vibe of a really loud amp. It's kind of voiced towards like a JBL speaker because that's really what Skynyrd preferred. So, you know, EQ-wise, it's kind of in that ballpark rather than a typical tweed sound, but it gives you that sort of effect. The harder you push it, the more you get that kind of speaker bite and kind of response out of it. The pedal has 2 foot switches. First one is just the on and off, and then we have a boost side. So the boost can be used in a few different ways depending on how you set it up. It's very responsive. You can either use it to kind of add a little bit more gain to your sound, or you can use it as a level boost. So when the gain is higher, it kind of functions as a gain boost, and if the gain is lower, it kind of functions as a level boost or like a clean boost. It's really useful because you can use it to either kind of lift yourself out of the mix for solos or add a bit more gain if you want a little bit more grit for a certain part of a song. It's very, very versatile, and you can actually get quite a lot of different sounds from it. Even if you're not a Skynyrd fan, this can still do a lot of great classic rock, southern rock, and kind of blues rock sort of tones. So spec-wise, that is pretty much it from this pedal, so I'm going to plug this thing in now and we're going to hear some sounds. Alright, so gear-wise, I'm going to be using a couple of different guitars in this video. I'm starting off with my Epiphone Firebird. This is plugged into the Blackstar Studio 10 6L6, which is running completely clean. That's going via the 2-note Torpedo Captor X. On the Captor X, I'm running an IR of a JBL D120 speaker, which was Skynyrd's preferred speaker of choice. All the other tones are coming from the Anthem. So to start off, here is my clean tone. So we're going to be starting with Alan Collins. Now that's the whole reason I'm using the Firebird here, because Alan used a Firebird and also an Explorer. Now on Alan Collins' Firebird, he actually had mini humbuckers, and I've got full humbuckers on this one. So what I'm going to do to reduce the output slightly is I'm going to bring the volume on the guitar back to about 7 or 8, just to take some of the extra power out of the pickups. So settings-wise, for the Alan Collins sound, we've got the toggle switch in the first position. The volume and gain are at about 10 o'clock. Got the tone at about 1 o'clock and the voice at around about 3 o'clock because we want a bit of bite. This is quite a mid-heavy sound. So when you think of the Alan Collins sound from riffs like Gimme 3 Steps, it's a really nice, almost tweed amp kind of vibe, but with a lot more mid-range. So this gets us pretty close to that kind of sound. So that's a really cool mid-rangey southern rock sound. That's really great for riffs and rhythm. Alan Collins also had a great lead sound. So if you get your guitar volume on 10 and you turn on the boost side of the pedal, it's going to give it a little bit more of a kick and we can get into that kind of Freebird vibe. Alright, so now I've changed over to my early 1980s Tokai Strat style guitar because we're going to be looking at the Ed King sound. This also works great if you're a Steve Gaines fan. So now I've gone to position 2 on the toggle switch. The volume is set to midnight. Obviously you can set that to taste with your own rig. The gain is just a fraction above 0. So 0 would be here, and we're maybe about 8 o'clock on the gain control, so we're not pushing too much gain here. The tone is on about 10 o'clock, and the voice is all the way up because we want that cranked small amp sound. Now, if you're playing a Strat and you're doing the Ed King thing, position 2 is critical here, so that's the bridge and the middle position. And that's great for those Sweet Home Alabama sounds. And now we're going to look at the Gary Rossington sound. This one is a little bit darker. It's a bit more kind of thick and full with a lot less gain, but we're getting our punch from the humbuckers here because I'm using my Stanford Guitars Crossroad Marquee because Gary famously used a Les Paul. So position 3 on the toggle switch. The gain is actually set to 0 here. The volume is halfway, so the volume is acting as a little bit of a push to the amp. I've got the voice control on full because we want that maximum speaker response, and the tone control I've got on halfway. Now you can adjust that slightly if you've got particularly dark humbuckers. You can give that a little push up, and if you've got quite bright humbuckers, you can bring that down slightly to compensate. So with the pedal set up this way, it's great for those Gary Rossington riffs, like Give Me Back Those Bullets. The original of this was recorded in E flat, but I'm playing this in standard tuning. If you turn the boost side of the Anthem on, you get some of those really nice twangy country-picked Rossington lead sounds like from the song Give Me 3 Steps. Another cool trick you can do when dialing in a Gary Rossington type sound is to add an MXR phase 90 to the chain. Set it very subtly, so just to 9 o'clock, so you get a subtle phasing effect. If you turn the boost side of the pedal off, you get a really nice phased, cleaner lead sound like the track Tuesday's got. That also works great with the boost side of the pedal on. You just get even more of that attack. So there you go, there is the Anthem Overdrive from Missing Link Audio. That is an incredibly versatile pedal that can dial in all 3 of those classic Skynyrd sounds, but also a ton more. Now obviously with the way this thing's voiced, it's not going to get you super saturated, high gain, heavy stuff. It's really focused on classic rock, southern rock, and blues rock. So if that is the kind of thing you're chasing, or you really, really love the Lynyrd Skynyrd thing, this is a great pedal to check out. There's some links down below in the description where you can read up all about this pedal and check out their website. They make some great stuff, a lot of stuff inspired by classic tones. So alongside this pedal, there's a bunch of other cool things over there, so go check those out as well. Let me know what you guys think about this thing down below in the comments. While you're doing that, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching.